Alrighty, I've been a wrestling fan for quite some time, and since WrestleMania season, this Sunday, in fact, well, I decided to make a video on what my basic predictions are for each of the matches, and also I'm going to actually address why I'm not actually going to buy WrestleMania. I'll do that later on. So I'll go in the... I'll just go in the inverse order of Wikipedia, just because that's very easy. Last up in this list is Marella, Menounos, I don't know who that is, and Khali versus Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. Why? I'm actually wondering. I know why they do this, but why couldn't they at least try to attempt to make the Divas division look important? I saw how half-assed this celebrity involvement is, because it looked like it felt very last second. There was no real emphasis on it, and it doesn't seem as though there's going to be enough time to properly market out that a celebrity is going to be at WrestleMania, you know. And of all things, a tag team match? I think with this sort of thing, it would make a lot more sense to have like the celebrity involvement to be like in the corner of, where at one point Eve tries to fucking help Beth Phoenix, and then like Maria stops it. Like a tag team match, that sounds like it's gonna be hard to watch. Then again, Khali's in there, so it's probably also gonna be hard to watch. Man, the Divas division like has become so unimportant in WWE lately. A lot of people had hopes for Karma, but then apparently she got knocked up by this leg daddy, and yeah, they didn't know where to go. As for the match itself, it's a fucking Khali match, and someone who has no experience with her, it's gonna be an awful match. And even on the other side, Eve is not the best in-ring general, and Beth's best strength is that she does a lot of different moves that contrast very well with other wrestlers. But her in-ring ring technician, she is not. This is probably gonna... I would argue this is probably gonna be the worst match of the show. Although that's actually not necessarily a bad thing, because I'll say this ahead of time. On paper, this card actually looks quite good. With one big exception. No, two big exceptions. One, the fact the Divas match I already mentioned. But here's the thing. This card is only 8 matches. WWE sucks when they don't have that many matches on it. Now, admittedly, a lot of these matches look like they're going to go on for at least 20 to 30 minutes. But, actually, a couple of them look like they might go on longer. But, at the same time, I can't help that thought in the back of my mind that WWE is going to tell them to do something stupid in the meantime. Like last year when they had all those backstage segments that you could tell should have been Raw segments. But they just decided, oh, let's put it on WrestleMania, fill some time. Which they could have used, you know, with some fucking matches. But anyway, back to the actual card. The 7th up here is actually the most well-built feud of the entire card, with maybe the exception of Cody Rhodes versus Big Show. And the match I'm talking about is Team Teddy versus Team John Laurinaitis. Alright, and Team Teddy consists of Santino Marella, the United States Champion, R-Truth, Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, the Great Khali, and the five-time champion Booker T. And of course they note that Hornswoggle is going to be in the corner. So yeah, that's the super ultra babyface team versus Team Johnny Ace with David Otunga as captain. And Mark motherfucking Henry, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Miz, and McIntyre. Now, I'm actually curious. Have they ever established whether or not this is a normal tag match, or if this is like a Survivor Series style match? Because here's the thing: if it's a normal tag match, that could actually be very interesting, because normally with like elimination matches, you're like, oh, okay, the worst workers are going to be eliminated first. So you can just tell Mark Henry and Khali are going to be eliminated first, and it'll kind of go down the list until eventually we get to the eventual list of more than likely I would say Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. But if it's a normal tag match, that could actually do well to establish all these guys in a new way. They need to rebuild Drew McIntyre after they fucking buried him. Buried him for these last couple of fucking months. Miz can get the best heat out of anybody. Is like the best heat drawer here, you know. Shug Daddy said it best. The casual fans aren't going to like Miz because he's kind of annoying. Women aren't going to like Miz because he's not that good looking. And hardcore fans are going to hate Miz because they think he's only there because he was a reality show host. So he gets the heat from everybody. So I got to see like how they can build new stars around him. I think they can rebuild some of Zack Ryder's momentum by like putting Zack up against Miz. In fact, I actually thought ahead of time that they were just going to do straight up Zack Ryder versus The Miz, but I guess that's not the case. I would hate to bury Miz more, but I think he needs to become the guy who looks worse to make somebody else look much better. And if I was to pick anyone on the babyface team that should look better, I'd say it's my main man, Kofi Kingston, the most underrated mid-carder in the place. Jack Swagger needs to be completely revamped before they can build him up. So I see him being another one of those guys like The Miz who pretty much just enhances other people like Zack Ryder or Kofi Kingston. Dolph Ziggler needs to kick some ass here. I mean, they gave him another WWE Championship match, and then they just kind of did nothing with him. I'm pretty sure they're going to build him in another program with Kofi Kingston, which, considering the time apart, could work. But yeah, I think Dolph's role here needs to be the guy who's built up. Mark Henry, man, Mark, he's suffering from injuries every fucking week. And because of that, I don't see him doing much here, except probably, again, enhancing Kofi and Zack Ryder. And David Otunga. I like David Otunga's loyal personality. He's not a great wrestler, but I think he's a good character. But yeah, if they want to make him more legit, I'd say they should probably, you know, get him over more than likely by beating the shit out of Booker T or Santino, because David Otunga needs some heat on him, and two guys who could really get that out of him would probably be Booker T and Santino. So that's kind of the roles I see out of the guys on Team Johnny. On Team Teddy, Booker T should pretty much serve as the whooping boy to get major heat on these heels. That could serve well, especially for Drew McIntyre. Khali, similarly, but I think Khali should be used to more cement a lot of these guys as legit performers, because Khali's biggest problem is that he can't work for shit. But if somebody takes down a great giant, it shows that the other guy is a pretty tough motherfucker. Ryder, they need to build him up. I see him beating the shit out of Mark Henry somehow, and probably getting a surprise on The Miz. Kofi, I know with Vince's racism, he's probably not going to push Kofi, but I can dream that Kofi Kingston like takes out Otunga, then takes out Mark Henry, then takes out The Miz, and then, you know, gets out in a scuffle with Dolph Ziggler, allowing for some other kind of finish to happen. R-Truth, after he got high, I don't see WWE pushing him, at least not until I see the numbers from the merchandise sales, because I gotta see. R-Truth as a babyface is actually really, really entertaining, so I got to see whether or not they're going anywhere with that. Santino is going through a similar problem that Zack Ryder is having in here, and that no one can really take him that seriously as a competitor. In last month's Elimination Chamber, you saw a lot of you saw that he could work relatively well at a main event level, but I think that had much more to do with the fact that they never really built up Daniel Bryan that well, unfortunately. And I really hope they don't do the same mistake with Santino Marella, just simply because he is so damn over. But how do I see this match playing out? Well, I kind of gave out basically like how I think things should play out, but knowing WWE, they're probably going to push Khali again because they don't want him to leave. They're probably going to... Mark Henry's injured, so they're not going to push him. They're probably going to bury McIntyre. Vince likes to have black people lose during these things. So I say the ending will more than likely be Miz hitting Kofi with a skull-crushing finale and winning. But I assume if they wanted to get the most heat, it would probably be Miz hitting the skull-crushing finale on Santino, roll over, pin, win. And I'm absolutely sure that Team Johnny is the one set up to win. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Team Teddy Long has been there since 2004. Like, he's the longest manager I've ever seen on anything ever. Like, how long did Stephanie last in WWE as the kayfabe manager? Like a year? How long did Eric Bischoff last? 3? I think it would be for the best for some visual change, even if it means one less black man. But they better get somebody new. Who knows? Maybe A-Train will be the unofficial guy there. As to whether or not this match will actually be any good, I think it will be. Like, if they give these guys the room to actually tell the story they need to and like show off everything they can do, then I think this could be a very, very good match. But again, that niggling feeling in the back of my head of, well, WWE could make them do this. But considering how well done they've already done this feud, I think they're going to actually give them the room to do what they need. Oh yeah, and I'm not sure if I actually said my professed results for the other match, but yeah, Maria and Kelly winning, obviously, because it's the fucking celebrity. They always win, I think. Alright, next match, Randy Orton versus Kane. God. This match will be good if Orton wins, because Orton, he actually puts in effort when he knows he's going to win. But this feud was kind of half-handed. Like, neither of these guys have the momentum they need. Randy Orton like lost a lot of momentum once WWE realized, hey, he's not actually a draw. Then they put the strap on Henry and found out, holy crap, even though he's not a great wrestler, people know him. And he's a fucking draw, or was, until he started getting really injured. Kane, I'd say Kane should win this. And here's why. They've never really done a good job of establishing Kane as a monster. And here's the other thing. WWE doesn't have that many big baby faces right now. And I think it could get Randy Orton over really well if they actually show him losing for once. Of course, if that happens, this match is going to be terrible because Randy Orton's going to pitch a fit about how he's not looking good. But yeah, I see Orton winning, but I wish Kane would win. I think it would be good for business if Kane won. Probably these guys' roles in this match will end up being that Orton will basically just be the guy who tries to overcome the monster Kane, assuming they ever get around to actually building him up like a monster. And that's why I really do think that Kane should win this match, to kind of show, yes, Kane is a dominant motherfucker. And then probably have Orton win at Extreme Rules or whatever the next pay-per-view is. On to the next match, and yes, a match I am actually quite looking forward to. Cody Rhodes versus The Big Show. I actually am really digging the way they built this up. Cody Rhodes being this cocky, smug motherfucker towards Big Show, like pointing out all his failures. I'll admit that it is kind of going into the burying of Big Show territory, but at the same time, Big Show's a really well-established name. He can take it, and in and of itself, and besides, he's a huge dude. It doesn't take a lot to make him credible. Which is, although you can still fuck that up, as I've said, they kind of did with Kane. But Cody Rhodes, I'd say, this has to be the sort of match that shows Cody Rhodes as a potential main eventer very, very soon down the line. They did this very well last year with him and Rey Mysterio. So I've got to see whether they can pull it off again here. How I see this match going out, I see Cody winning, but probably with a lot of underhanded tactics, and more than likely him having the ending where he's just laughing his ass off at Big Show. But how will the match fare? I actually don't know. This is a very interesting kind of match because Cody is a very good worker, and Big Show, given the right type of partner, is also a pretty good worker. But the thing is, Big Show's always had kind of weird success with people much smaller than him, because he can tell like a David and Goliath story, but when you're rooting for Goliath, it's hard for him to properly get a good match. So it's difficult to say. This should at least be one of the most interesting matches. I don't see this match being boring. Either it will be very good or it will be bad, but the kind of bad where it's painful, not boring. And honestly, I prefer that. Alright. And we're only halfway through the card, and we've already gotten to the World Heavyweight Championship match. In this match, it's Daniel Bryan versus the winner of the Royal Rumble, Sheamus. The ending of this match is fairly telegraphed. Sheamus is going to beat the shit out of Daniel Bryan. But it's Daniel Bryan, so the match is going to be damn good. You can pretty much tell that with pretty much all of Daniel Bryan's matches. But how will, like, the roles be shown out? Daniel Bryan will probably have to play the cookie-cutter, cowardly heel, while Sheamus does the Triple H-style comebacks and all that other stuff. I think if they do this match well, which with Daniel Bryan, it's almost guaranteed, you could really make a huge star out of Sheamus. And assuming Team Johnny wins, which I really think he will, I'd say that they actually have a pretty decent amount of competition set up that they can set up against Sheamus. You know, it actually makes a lot of sense to put him up against Mark Henry again, because who was his biggest feud with in the summer? Mark Henry. They've already had Christian return. He's not on anything here. I don't know why, but if they do have him face Christian again, that makes a lot of sense, because they were the ones that feuded in the fall. In fact, it was Christian that pretty much brought Sheamus up as a babyface. And here's the other big thing: the Royal Rumble winner has not won a WrestleMania match since 2007. If they don't have Sheamus win, it will completely devalue the Royal Rumble. Sheamus needs to win. I know some hardcore fans may not like that, but that's just the way it rolls. CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. I was so fucking disappointed with the mic work going up to here, but again, it's that same fucking case of, well, you can just tell WWE told them to go there. Like, but anyway, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. Two great workers. Like, you can just fucking tell these guys are going to put on an amazing match. In fact, it's probably going to be, well, I don't think it's going to be the most strikingly well-remembered match, because it's probably not going to have those those singly amazing moments. But I do think that CM Punk and Chris Jericho will probably have an amazing match, because they're two guys who know how to have an amazing match. It's pretty much just as simple as that. As to how this should play out, I think Chris Jericho should be the big legitimizer for CM Punk, because they've been doing at least a decent job of making CM Punk a legitimate champion, but I think a really good, aggressive attack against a big veteran like Jericho, I think that would do wonders for CM Punk's future. But I'd say the best way to continue this would be Chris Jericho winning over CM Punk. It really is quite as simple as the fact that this feud probably will do better as Chris Jericho as a champion. Really, for the simple matter that it's easier to root for a guy when he's chasing after something instead of when he's at the mountaintop. And I think Chris Jericho should hold the title at least until SummerSlam, when he can drop it to either CM Punk or feud with CM Punk long enough so that CM Punk can feud with somebody else, and then Jericho can drop the strap to, I don't know, any other babyface. Maybe Cena, who knows. And before you guys say, well, Cena's had the title so much, Cena hasn't really had the title since Money in the Bank of well, actually, he technically had the title at around at SummerSlam. So he hasn't had it. Oh, that would make it the year since he had it. So that would actually be pretty fitting. So we've had 2 title matches, and yet we're not at pretty much the main events. The 2 main events are Undertaker versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match with the special guest referee as Shawn Michaels. I'd say this is probably going to be the best match of the night. Only for the simple reason that with a lot of these matches, I have that worry that WWE is going to tell them something stupid to do. Or, you know, somebody backstage is going to shorten their time, not allow them to do certain things. I don't see that with this match because Triple H is directly in the boss's ear. And I'm going to stop that now. Because that hurts my throat. And you just know that Triple H is fucking in Vince's ear. And I would not be surprised if this match got the longest time. And what's worrying is that with the way this has been built up, it's been completely centralized around Triple H. So it actually would not surprise me if they had him end the streak. And I don't know whether it's deliberate or good storytelling or whatever, but I actually could see the streak ending. Because it is too believable that Triple H would book himself to beat a 20-year streak. But I hope and pray that Undertaker wins, even if by just Shawn Michaels super kicking the crap out of Triple H. I want to see Undertaker win. So probably this is going to be the match I remember most. And probably most people. So now, what are these guys' roles? The thing is, these guys gained so fucking little from this match. Like, Triple H and Undertaker are already established. This is just going to be a very good match. But of course, Triple H always thinks that he has something to gain out of everything. So the final match of the card, I'm pretty sure this is the main event. The Rock versus John Cena. How will this match play out? Rock needs to make Cena look more legitimate to people who may not be familiar with Cena. Because here's the thing. Cena has a very big generational disconnect, and I blame it primarily on WWE, where there's a lot of younger people who really like his work, but a lot of the older people have really grown to dislike him. If Rock can give Cena the chance to look legitimate, to look like a strong competitor, to look like a great worker, to look like a guy who can engage the crowd, a guy who can put asses in seats, then I think this match will be worth it regardless of the result. But what will be the result? How will it end? I see two possible results. One, Cena wins and Rock gives him a respectful handshake, very similar to Hogan and Rock in WrestleMania 18. You know, great respect. Someone gets boosted up properly and is given a formal handing of the torch over. The other situation is if Rock wins. If Rock wins, they have to make a heel turn, because then they will have fucking buried John Cena, and it will have been the perfect time to really have Cena do a heel turn, like, finally, after a longer period than fucking Hogan had. I think. No, actually, Hogan was there for 11 years. Never mind. But yeah, I think they need to do something really fresh with Cena, and a heel turn, like, with a loss to Rock would actually make a lot of sense. But that's very particular. But that situation is very particular, and I'm not really sure how this match is going to play out, to be quite honest. As for how good the match will be, I really don't know. Rock, I actually saw both of Rock's DVDs, and Rock was never a really great ring technician. His biggest strength was his microphone work. But at the same time, given somebody who can, like, take instructions properly, he could have at least a good match. And I think if they give them both the proper amount of time, which if this is the main event, they probably will, I think this could be a very excellent match. It'll at least be a very interesting match, because Cena gets, like, the back and forth reaction all the time, but I don't think he's ever gotten a 100% against him reaction like I think he's going to get here. So that's pretty much a brief preview and predictions on how this WrestleMania will go on. Now to why I'm not actually going to buy it. Here's the thing, like, I kept saying this repeatedly, and it's the reason I'm going to buy it. It's like WWE could tell them to. You know, CM Punk and Chris Jericho could be an amazing match. But WWE could tell them to make it short or give it an ending that is completely ambiguous, like that shitty Jericho and Edge ending. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus could be an amazing match, but then WWE could tell them not to make it that great so that people will buy the next one. Rock versus Cena could be totally Rock versus Cena could be totally amazing, but WWE could tell them to do something really, really stupid in the middle of it, or expect that fans really like Cena above Rock. This is kind of the reason I don't want to buy this, because it's like, why would I purchase something when I have no faith in the actual company? I have faith in these individuals. I can tell that even Cena could have great matches, but WWE keeps telling him to do stupid things. CM Punk could have amazing. CM Punk could cut amazing promos about how he's the best in the world, and Chris Jericho could totally rival him in that department, or even better him. But WWE keeps making them go into more personal matters that just make everything feel uncomfortable. Rock could totally have done much better promos than he did during the build-up to this match, but you could just tell WWE was telling him to do things that he very clearly was not comfortable with, and it kind of showed because he was very unnatural in a lot of his promos. And that's kind of the big reason behind it. WWE, they don't have the United States Champion match. No, well, they have the United States Champion in a match here, but it's not for his title. It kind of devalues that. The tag team title is completely unadvertised on this. The Divas title is not put into any kind of commission at all. It just kind of shows how WWE is not really putting their all into this, even though their competitors might and probably will. But again, WWE is the biggest problem with WWE, which is hilarious to think. So yeah, that's actually the reason I'm not going to buy this, because it's just too much of a chance. For the amount of money that WrestleMania costs, it is simply not worth the money they ask for up front. I'd say, like, how much would I pay for this sort of event with WWE stuff in mind? Well, the card looks like a $55 event, which is actually their standard price, which I already think is way too high. But with the risk of WWE stuff, it could be pushed down to like $20. So I'd say an average, roughly $35. I know that's actually not a real average. It's just a very, very, very rough estimate. But yeah, I'm not going to pay $65 for this event. Alright, thanks for listening. How do you think WrestleMania would play out? And how do you think these guys should really work their match? How do you think things will play out? How do you think WWE corporate will affect the WWE matches here? And what do you think on my reason why I'm actually not going to buy this show? Thanks for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Sanders. Peace out.